Hi everyone. Welcome to our next webinar. This time, today, we will focus on the future of data integration for Oracle users. The whole webinar will be recorded. Presentation and this recording will be, of course, shared with all of the participants. Please don't hesitate to ask questions in this webinar. During the session, you can use Q&A or chat window, which you see in your Zoom. All of those questions will be answered at the end of this session. So what we will do today, we will start from introduction on the latest market trends. Then we will move to real-time data ingestion, Qlik integration platform. This will be part 3, and at the end we will do Q&A and summary. My name is Dawid Głowacki. I'm part of MDSap team, and we have Gary Harrington as well, who is part of Qlik. Just a few words on who we are. I think you all know, but just to understand in the context of this webinar. So for the last 28 years, MDS has been focusing on the data integration. And this is why now, together with Qlik, for the last few years, we've been implementing data integration solutions for our customers, together with Qlik and mainly the Qlik Data Integration platform. So this is the background. So let's move to the introduction. What we want to talk about today. So what are the data management trends, especially what are the trends which we see this year or the last year? Machine learning, artificial intelligence is everywhere. Yes, we want to enable machine learning models and machine learning workloads, for our business. Yes, we want to have as much repeatable task automated as possible. Yes, we see IoT data bus architectures everywhere. Yes, so the data is coming from the sensors and needs to be analyzed, ingested seamlessly into our platforms. We ideally would like to have this ingestion patterns working in real-time mode. All of the data which flies to our platforms should be properly observed, measured, and we should have KPIs for those, yes, to see, for example, some data quality measures as well. Ideally, the platform should be no-code or low-code based, yes, and in the cloud architectures, we see this serverless focus currently. So when a new platform is available in a matter of minutes, yes, in a matter of mouse clicks. And because there's so much data coming, so many different data assets available, that all of that needs to be properly governance, yes, needs to be properly searched. Now, another trend which we see is decentralization, is data mesh, data fabric architectures. So previously, all of the data teams were actually centralized. Now we see slightly different trends. And of course, modern tools, modern solutions are mainly cloud-based now. Yes, so for the new implementations, we mainly see it's cloud-based, sometimes cloud native. So all of those different trends, yes, needs to be properly supported by the modern tools, yes, in a kind of an out-of-the-box fashion. And Qlik Data Integration is this kind of platform, yes, where all of those requirements are properly supported by providing change data capture, real-time streaming, seamless cloud integration, by providing data lake automation, data warehouse automation with an automatic ETL generation or data marts, and then the overall workflows generation. And then all of those data sets should be properly enriched, transformed, and they should be eventually published to data consumers, yes, and all of those activities should be visible in a simple data lineage. So this is something what is coming out of the box from Qlik Data Integration, and this is why we are talking about that today. So for all of those market trends, yes, let's just capture how this is handled by Qlik Data Integration. So for example, for automation, we have the data structures that generation. We have this bulletproof architecture. Yes, so this basically make sure that if there is an issue, if, for example, source side of the replication or an ETL job is down, we can easily restart from a particular time from the beginning, yes, with no further intervention. We have this agentless architecture, so that basically means that we don't need to install manually source connectors on the source side. Yes, for the IoT, we see Kafka connectors available and support for the data bus architecture. Rich web-based UI is of course must have with those features like automatic flow generation, data model generation. Yes, instead of writing the code, we basically generate it by using mouse. Then serverless, this is where Qlik Cloud Data Integration steps in, yes, where actually the focus is on the features, functionality, not on the infrastructure management. Cloud, of course, is available. Yes, all of the major cloud providers services can be easily integrated. Yes, for offload, replication, and so on. And then this machine learning piece. Yes, this means that the data needs to be available on the other side for the machine learning flows immediately. Yes, so again, we are talking about rich connector list. Then there is this real-time integration, of course, available, where the typical delays are well below 1 second. Yeah, so it's actually a seamless integration, immediate integration, and this is what we see while working with our customers on Qlik Data Integration. And then for the data observability, yes, rich KPIs, what you see is what you get, historical measures, data quality measures, all of that comes out of the box. And catalog data lineage, shopping cart for data consumers. Yes, so let's say you're a business user, you want to search your data asset. Yes, you want to see where they go, you want to see who owns them, who is the data steward. You can, when you search them, identify those data assets, you can add them to the to a shopping cart and publish it to your applications and to be consumed. And then, of course, data mesh, data fabric is this replication, transformation for heterogeneous platforms, support of decentralized architectures. All of that is out of the box. Now, thinking about the Oracle users, so you see those 10 different trends, yes, 10 different pillars of Qlik Data Integration as well. Yes, any of them could be actually maybe a good reason to think about different approach if you are an Oracle user. But we want to focus on 4 of them just to give you maybe additional ideas to think. So what are the biggest differentiator when you're an Oracle user? So let's say you have your business running on Oracle transactional database, or you have a Oracle data warehouse. Yes, you see all of those different market trends, and then what you will like to have, yes, where you will see the difference is like all-in-one platform approach, which Qlik Data Integration gives you. Yes, with, of course, replication is one of the key aspects, but it's only one aspect of the whole solution, whole platform. Yes, but ingestion, automation, cataloging, data lineage, workflow automation, all of that should come out of the box as well. Yes. Now, what you would like to have is the accessibility of different data sources and target connectors available. So it's not usually, in this world, it's not simple Oracle to Oracle replication, but it's much more. Yes, people need to replicate their data, for example, into different cloud solutions. Like, let's say that we have one team, one business on-prem, then you have another team working in AWS doing machine learning, and for example, yet another in Azure doing more finance related stuff. Yes, so all of those different locations, they should be seamlessly integrated, and those connectors should be available, and this is what we get out of the box. And that, of course, includes the end-to-end automation as well for development processes. So to automate as much as possible. So pretty much everything, do this with a mouse click, with single actions, yes, and have this mature product available who supports it. And last but not least, yes, you don't want to pay upfront a lot of money, as you want to have a support for pay-as-you-go pricing model. And this is what, for example, a cloud version of Qlik Data Integration gives you. So let's move forward. Gary, the stage is yours now.
Hi. So I'm Gary Harrington. I'm Qlik Architect. Put it in the chat if anyone's having any problems hearing me or seeing what I'm showing. Just put it in the chat. I can see it. I'm now in my second year in Qlik. Before that, I've been working on integration projects as an architect in the banking industry for too many years. Big integrations in the UK, US, and Germany. So I've got a lot of experience about data warehousing and different techniques for bringing data into your warehouses and lakes, etc. There won't be many slides today. We don't really have much time for it. I'm going to be doing, not sharing a screen yet. I'm going to be doing a lot of demoing, and there's a lot of moving parts. So, starting off sharing the screen here. That's the dog, hopefully. Good. David, are you still live?
I can hear you. Yes, you are visible as well. Yeah, I can see your screen.
So you can see Replicate. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Qlik Replicate today and QCDI, our end-to-end integration platform. But we'll start with Qlik Replicate, which is what you can see in front of you. One second. I always like to start with this picture, because here you can see everything that's happening in Qlik Replicate, and to be honest, everything that's not happening. So what you see in front of you is a unit of work in our Qlik Replicate tool. This is not a simple example of Qlik Replicate. This is not just something to demonstrate. They always look exactly the same as this. So we always have a connection to a source, Oracle in this case, a connection to a target, and a server process. This is the way Qlik Replicate works. You install a server, which is either Windows or Linux, and then that server has zero footprint usually on the source system, zero footprint on the target systems. You simply have a very performant connection from the server to the source and from the server to the target. Each source connection is specific to each source. They're built-in performance measures. So, for example, when we're connecting to Oracle, we can use Oracle Log Miner, standard. or we have our own developed replicate log reader, which is more performant for CDC. So, here's the target connection. It's a very simple connection to the targets. Basically, you need to set it up with whatever authentication you have. And again, with each particular target, there are particular performance options. Not so many on that one. And then the server itself is replicate. You can select tables. You can use wildcards to select these tables. Yeah. Let's choose this one. Would have done it, wouldn't it? And the beauty of the wildcard pattern is once you've created a replicate process, it will automatically include the tables that are included in the wildcard. And so as new tables are added to the source, they're automatically included in the replicate pattern. For each table, you can define some transformations and filtering. What we tend to do is only do transformations at row level, because the whole point of this process is deliver the data as quickly as possible from the source to the target, and the transformation takes place in the target. So the source connection is change data capture based. It begins with an initial snapshot of the table as it is. And then once the job is running, it synchronizes the updates that are coming from the table based on reading the transaction log. So you have a monitor process here, where you have the initial full load for the tables, and then the change processing, which comes from reading the transaction log. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create you one from scratch. Easier. You have the option to create as a full load and apply changes, which creates a synchronized copy, or full load and store changes, which creates an initial load and then accumulates the changes that have been taking place in the source database, or both. You select your source. You select your target. You select the tables that you want from the particular schema. And here's where the wildcard comes in. So you can select and with that particular wildcard, any tables added that begin with C will automatically add it to your data pipeline. I'm going to create a process. So this is now ready to run. And we'll run that in a second. But the real strength in replicate is it's quite simple, or many people have tried to do it anyway, to generate pipelines from the transaction log. But as David said earlier, this is really a bulletproof piece of infrastructure. So it's got lots of features built in, rolled in over the years, because this is formerly a Qlik replicate. So over the years, we've built in a lot of features to support the implementation of this tool in large installations. So we have a lot of stuff around supporting restarts. We have things around holding the load in between the initial snapshot and then the filtering through of all the changes to allow the DBAs to mess around with the keys, etc. And also all the things that you can see here are available in APIs to make it easier to integrate with your existing operational framework. And those APIs are also deployed by this thing here, Enterprise Manager. Well, what we do with Qlik Replicate is that the charging model at the moment for that is based on the number of the size of the sources you have and the number of target types. And it's irrelevant to us how many replicate servers you have. So you can replicate your replicates as much as you like. And we also deliver Qlik Enterprise Manager, which allows you to have, from a single piece of glass, a view of all your replicate servers, of all the tasks running. And you can even edit the tasks from here. It's like a similar view to what you've just seen in Replicate. And many of our customers use Enterprise Manager instead of Replicate. And this also comes with built-in analytics Postgres database with all the metrics around your data pipelines. Now, to go back to the pipeline we just built, we start this thing running. This is the designer view. Both the design and the scheduling and monitoring all happen from this same UI. It's kicked us straight into the monitoring view. And here we've already loaded the tables. What we're going to do, to show you how this works, is going to quickly, what are we on, 25 minutes, okay. Going to change one of the tables. So now we're on the change processing mode, and you can see we've got some changes. Oh, that's sorry, that's the old one. This is the new one. Do that again. Second. Drop it. There's the change. Add a column. There's the change. Update the column. And there are the updates coming through.
Maybe just to add a comment, yes, this is a great feature, yes, adding this automation aspect. So basically, if your source data structures will change, you don't need to have a maintenance window. They are automatically reflected. Yes, those changes are automatically reflected. So it's all seamless.
It's a real living data pipeline, because what you have, once you've connected it, once you've done the initial load and then synchronized it with the changes, it's a consistent read with the changes. It starts caching the changes as soon as you start scheduling your initial load. You have a living copy of that source table on your target, and it's evolving, and the schema is evolving at the same time. And also you can talk about it as a schema level pipeline, because if you add tables, they're also being added. If you add tables to the source, you can set it up so they're also being added to the target. And again, those new tables, obviously, as they evolve, they will that new columns being added, new data being added, obviously, will come across to the target. And this cuts down an awful lot of effort. And you've seen, as David said, not just the bulletproof, but the no code and the automation. All of the code around this has been rendered based on this, basically this table selection window. I watched a demo yesterday a presentation yesterday from a guy at ABB, and he said that in his site he's measured it as 6 clicks, 2 drag and drops, and 1 drop down to create a flow. That's his process. And also, he was quite interesting as well. I wrote down some of his stats yesterday. What did he say? He has. Oh yeah. In his system, in his setup, he has 30 plus SAP systems. He's collecting from those over 30 SAP systems into 4 data hubs. He's got over 200,000 columns, over 14,000 tables, 1 table with 4 billion rows. He's doing 60 to 160 gig of daily changes per system, with usually under 5 seconds of latency. And the killer stat is he has a team of 3 people to manage that. And this is impressive stuff. And these are the evolving systems. This is not 30 identical SAP systems. This is 30 systems around the world evolving at different rates. And he's dealing with that all with replicate servers with a team of 3. Now, what Qlik has been doing in the previous years is we've had replicate, and we've also had a product called Compose, which allows you to take this constant stream of changes and automate the creation of a data warehouse. But what we released at the end of last summer was our integration platform as a service. And this is QCDI. It leverages the existing SaaS for Qlik Sense environment, but it's a development tool that is not dependent on Qlik Sense. So you can use this integration environment for any BI tool of your choice, and it's not dependent on being in the cloud. It's just that the integration environment itself runs in the cloud. So the metadata around the tasks and the assets that you're creating sit in a cloud storage, but the actual application itself is a classic ELT. So it uses replicate to put the information in a target platform, and then all the transformations take place there. And those are scheduled, if you like, from the QCDI platform itself. So I'm going to show you what it looks like first. So this is QCDI. This is a project. And a quick overview before we go into the detail of how the thing is built and constructed. We have connections to sources, which is very similar to replicate. This particular project runs on Snowflake. Every aspect of the project, from the design through to the scheduling and then the monitoring, is all from this single pane of glass. And if you like, under this glass, everything is running on Snowflake. So the objects are created in this cloud environment, and then they are sent down to Snowflake. So there's my one slide. Hopefully show this a bit. So it looks like this. This is Qlik Cloud Data Integration. So this is the window that you can see at the moment behind me, behind this. It sends instructions to replicate, which is a headless replicate effectively here, which we call the data gateway, which moves the information into your warehouse. This is, at the moment, this is supporting the big 5, if you like, in the cloud. And Synapse, Redshift, BigQuery, Databricks, and Snowflake. But we will release on-prem SQL Server next month, and over the coming months, we're expecting to release many more SQL targets. So we're looking for a much wider coverage of SQL platforms as potential targets. So here we have, as I say, the landing task here is replicate, and here the orchestration of the moving of the data through transformation layers is also happening, is being driven by QCDI, but everything is happening down here on the platform, right? We will have to come back to that in a moment. So this is the environment. As I say, it's the same environment as Qlik Sense. So up here, you can go into your analytics or into data integration. And this particular project is with SAP. It's one of our SAP accelerators, allowing you to quickly build data marts in SAP. And all in the same environment. We have the Qlik Sense apps connecting directly to it. So this is the app. This is the replicate landing, the long-term storage, transformations and creation of data marts. And this is a Qlik Sense app using that data from Snowflake, all in the same environment. Single sign-on, sharing catalogs, sharing business glossary, sharing data lineage, which has two advantages. The data project, the data integration space, is leveraging automatically the functionality from that we've already been building for around business glossaries, lineage, catalog for Qlik Sense, but you don't necessarily need to be a Qlik Sense user. So it's given us a really quick start into this space. So this is a pretty complex project. Going to create one from scratch to show you how the design process works. And hopefully you'll see some of the automation as we go through. You create a project here. You select your platform. And as I said, at the moment, we have the big five. Connection to that underlying database needs to be set up in advance, but it's simply a matter of adding the credentials that you'd normally add for a connection such as that. You create a project. Set prefix on the schemas that are going to be created so that I can distinguish which project they relate to. And this is where your automation starts to begin. So you onboard data. You're going to be using Northwind. You select a connection. So here, we're managing this part here. We're telling the gateway which tables we would like to have from the data source and setting it up so that it will deliver a full load table and changes. It won't synchronize this full load table for reasons that I'll come on to in a second. And here it is. Select them all. Now we've created the first part of our pipeline, a connection to the database, a landing, of the full load and changes, and also automatically the storage task for the long-term storage. Right? And okay. Oh, that's funny. Okay. Sorry. All right. This is one I created earlier. That's the wonder of demos. It's struggling with the fact I've created a project that's exactly the same with uppercase and lowercase in it. This is something I've never seen before. Fantastic. All right. So let me start again from scratch. Excuse me. We've got time. Hope so. Ah, all right. It's got it. Okay. Oh. It's okay. It can understand uppercase and lowercase. All right. So we have the landing. And we have the storage task. Now, what happens with the storage is automatically, here's another project as a copy of that. When you create the schemas that run when you deploy it onto Snowflake, each data set comes with a whole bunch of automatically generated SQL. So this is the creation of the initial tables, and then automatically here the initial load and the incremental apply of all the tables. Now, you'll see in here, there's a whole bunch of different artifacts created, and these match what we have on here in this storage area. And what we support from these storages is a view, which is the current view. So this is like an ODS, and you can have the current view, but you can also have a live view. Now, this means we filter the changes into the landing zone, and we have a constant flow of changes also into this landing zone, but insert only. And then we decide, or you decide in the storage task, how often you fold these changes into your long-term storage to create your ODS view and your historical view, which is the prior table. These are the views that you provide externally to your BI tools or your other projects. And you have a current view, but you also have a live view, and the live view takes the long-term storage, but also rolls in any changes that have applied, that have landed in the warehouse since you last created your long-term storage. And the key reason we do this is because this the process to create the long-term storage involves a lot of compute. And so we can allow you to manage in your target environment how often you run that compute process, but also give you a backdoor for people to have the up-to-date information if they want. And that's what that long-term storage is. So we have the landing, which is effectively replicate that we saw earlier, bringing the data in, change data capture, living flow of data into the target environment. Then we have this object that creates the long-term storage. And then as a further piece of automation, we create a data model in here. Never normally that's mine. Just didn't wait long enough. So there's a whole bunch of recommended relationships that you can apply. And if anyone is familiar with Northwind, there's another one that's not automatically generated. And so now we create a model which shows you the relationship between the entities. And the reason we do this at the moment is this supports the automation of the next step, the creation of a data mart. Go back to the flow. So here we have the landing, the long-term storage, and a data mart widget, I guess you'd say. And because the data mart understands the data model, you can create facts in here, and then cleverly, based on the data model, decide which details you want to denormalize into that fact. Okay. And then you can add some dimensions. And another dimension. And if you go to this fact table, it's suggesting recommended dimensions for a star schema. We'll apply those. And this will now create these data sets. And you'll see on all the details here that we've denormalized information in from the shipper and from the order itself. And this is the order detail. And this is these are the tables related to customers and employees. And at this stage, you can add columns based on transformations within formulas from other columns in the row. You can drop columns, blah, blah, blah. And all the SQL to generate that is automatically generated. So the really important thing to understand about this whole platform here is that this is end-to-end. Yeah, so as I said earlier, every aspect of designing it, scheduling it, as in pushing it down to that platform to run, and then monitoring it is happening in here. I'll show you the monitoring on the other one here. And you can see some changes have gone through on this particular one. It's a bit slow. Start landing. I'm too impatient for these. Okay, so the design, the scheduling, and the monitoring, all from this window. And because we have the tools that are already available in the SaaS environment, we have links through to the catalog, the lineage, the glossary that if you've already seen Qlik SaaS, you will already know about. And the other very important feature here is that the whole thing is based on changes. Because we've been working with Replicate for a long time, part of our mantra is that we think that change data capture is the best way of delivering data to targets. So always connecting to get that first copy, and then building your synchronization by reading from the transaction logs and never doing refreshes. Okay, so we think this is the best way to manage, reduce the impact on the source, reduce the bandwidth of data that you're sending around, and get the most up-to-date copy in your target as well. So as David said earlier, get that real-time data there, or as close to real-time as you can. And so this element is obviously changes coming in. That's what Replicate does. But this whole platform, even that really complicated project you saw earlier about with SAP, has changes baked in at the lowest level. So all the way through the process, we're automatically generating the code and manage those changes coming through. And that's a really important feature, because obviously that gives you a better chance of processing much more performant and much quicker, get to your target, but also it's absolutely minimizing the amount of compute that you need on the target platform, because you're only ever processing changes. So you can have a really complex pipeline, and if there's one change happening, then every object that understands that change or needs that change just receives the one change. And that's the basic principle. And I think
so Gary, I should share now, yes, I suppose. So let me share my screen. Thanks very much for this. Maybe just a word of clarification. So Gary was showing the cloud version because of course, of those market trends, cloud fairs, and so on. But at the same time, there is an on-premise version of this as well, of course. And it's not that this on-premise version is not further developed.
No,
it's
no,
actually,
absolutely not.
it goes
Absolutely
in parallel.
not.
Yes. So it's all there. Then another clarification, yes, it's the Snowflake was selected because, as you might know, it's very easy actually to get the free account of Snowflake for different various demo sessions. Yes, but of course, if you're an Oracle user, you could do exactly the same for your Oracle databases. So let's move forward. Now we are reached the Q&A session. So let me check what are the questions which we already have. If you have any more, please just use Q&A or chat icon available. So there is a question on talent. So I think maybe Gary will be the best person to answer it. So talent was recently acquired by Qlik. Yeah, so I suppose the question is what's the product line will look like. So Gary, if you could take it, please go ahead.
Yeah, I need to share them. Now,
sure, let me stop sharing. Yeah, please go ahead.
So I'll go back on my promise of no more slides. This is our, there's a presentation available on around social media. What's next is now, which talks about the acquisition of talent from Qlik and what's happening. And what you've seen already today, all that stuff will be staying. Yeah, so all of our existing customers don't have to worry about that sort of thing. But we're looking to build up some of the key gaps by deploying some world-class stuff from Talent around. They have many more connectors to SaaS products than us. They have a genuine an ETL style process, which could dovetail very nicely with what we have in the ELT. Data preparation, quality, and governance. And the whole aspect of APIs and the orchestration of them is also something that we've always steered quite well clear of with Replicate, because as I said, Replicate's mantra is reading from transaction logs. But the focus for us over the next year or so is to try and get some of these tools working in that same development environment. And again, not restricted to cloud platforms, but as a cloud development environment where you build your end-to-end pipeline with data preparation, quality governance tools from Talent, alongside what we've been doing around feeding change data through to automated data pipeline building processes. It's very exciting. We've had lots of meetings with the guys already. They've got some really nice products. So that's Talent.
Great, thanks, Gary. I suppose maybe if this talent acquisition will settle down a little bit, maybe we will create, we'll have another webinar, another event just to focus on that. Meantime, I see there is another question. I suppose it's related to the fact that we have Gary here today with us, and it's we are talking in English. So there is a question in case of implementation, can we get local support? Absolutely. So this is why you see MDS and my person here. So I'm, of course, local. Actually, Gary is not far away. Yes, Gary is from Germany, but I'm a local Polish guy. And my team, my technical team is always here to support you, do implementation, guides the customer, and we do it end to end, and we provide later on the production support to our customers. So, of course, you can get it, yes, and this is why we actually have this strong cooperation with our partner as well, yes, to seek maybe sometimes gets the time from Qlik vendor who of course owns the software, but it's us who owns the professional services, implementation, and then later on the support. If you still have any more questions, this is the right time. I don't see anything else. No more questions, no. So let's complete on the Q&A and let's move forward. Just summary. So summarizing all of that, yes. What we wanted to do, we wanted to give you an update on the latest market trends, especially if you are an Oracle user. So if you have your business running on Oracle databases, Oracle data warehouse, maybe you are interested in unlocking your data, having the data available for your machine learning workloads, maybe for other applications in different cloud services, and so on and so on. And this is where this is why we actually shown you the Qlik Data Integration, because this integration will be seamlessly delivered to you in this automatic manner, and you will be one of our another happy customer which we will provide the services for. So if you are interested to hear anything else, just contact us. We are available here for you. We are keen to see your feedback, to hear your feedback. And for today, I think this is all. But please watch out for our next webinars. I suppose there will be organized after the vacation break. Yes, maybe from September. We will keep you posted on the latest events which will come. So thanks very much. Thanks, Gary. Thanks to all of the audience. Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.